Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. And before we fully jump on in, I just want to ask, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, maybe YouTube's unsubscribed you. A lot of people were saying that they were unsubscribing people. I don't know what is going on with that, but if you guys are not subscribed, which over 50% of the viewers of this channel are not subscribed, which is insane, definitely consider subscribing by the end of this video and also turning notifications on, because I'm uploading all the time, doing a ton of research, making sure that you guys are all up to date on all of the news around crypto and crypto related projects. So if you guys can subscribe and turn notifications on to never miss an update, that would be greatly appreciated, but only if you guys do learn something, find the content interesting, maybe you just like the content, whatever the case is. And also, if you guys are a QNT holder, hit that like button and comment down below what you think QNT will be worth in 10 years. So with all that in mind, let's just dive in, and let's start off with this tweet here from the blockchain media. So we do see QNT connects everything, and I do think that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when we really kind of look at this overall image, check out everything being connected here. This is not only crypto related projects, this is not only blockchain networks. No, this is literally everything. And I'm sure that you guys seen this image 100 times before. Listen, we've talked about QNT so much on this channel. So if you've been a viewer of the channel, you are probably aware of this image. But the reason why I bring this up and the reason why I talk about it is I just want you guys to realize, what's happening around the world between like DLT adoption, digitization, tokenization. I mean, everything that we've been discussing for a very long time on this channel is starting to really come to light. And I love to see that, because it really does provide me a confidence layer behind what I believe is happening with Quant as well. Because when we look at what Quant is doing, they are becoming that core foundation piece of the puzzle that allows for crypto to truly be realized into the internal systems of the legacy system. Meaning, when we really kind of look at DLT technology, it's not going to be, okay, let's see how we can adopt this technology and have it go to, one bank to another bank, this, that. Like, no, it can't be one by one. It has to be the full system connected in a plug and play instance. That's what Quant is doing here. When we look at images like this, it doesn't really go in depth on what's actually happening here. When we actually look at this image, it's not just okay, let's have Quant at the forefront center point of it and that's it. No, what happens here is you do have Overledger at the center, but then you have all of the blockchain networks, all of the payment networks, every single thing that we utilize on a day-to-day basis, cloud services, all of that, all plug and played through the Overledger network to DLT. Because this is how the legacy system needs to connect to this technology. And yes, I 100% believe that everything we utilize on a day-to-day basis will run through DLT technology. You might question why, how, what's the deal with this? It's simple, right? DLT technology is extremely efficient. We have learned this lesson 100 times over, talking about the processes behind some of these major projects. Like, for an example, even XRP. We talk about XRP and on-demand liquidity and how it could fundamentally shake up things within the cross-border payment sector. We also talk about Hedera, digitizing workflows, bringing in, the carbon footprints of corporations and major banking entities and, other companies as well, down to carbon neutrality. I mean, there's so much more behind Hedera as well. They do tokenization, CBDCs, all that kind of stuff. Like, these are the networks and projects that I watch for. Now, as we do focus on Quant and we focus on what QNT is doing and becoming, we always look at the supply. We look at the supply metrics versus Bitcoin, not only the supply metrics, but also the utility. Shout out to QNT, Shawnee over on Twitter, but we do see not only does QNT have 33% less supply than Bitcoin, it currently has 99% of its max supply in circulation, meaning virtually no QNT will be released. 5-digit coin in the making, matter of time only. And a lot of people do question the supply because on CoinGecko, there's a little bit of a mix-up on the supply. It's going off of what we didn't have burned on QNT supply, but we all know that the actual supply is 14.6 million. 33% less than Bitcoin. So, if you're valuing Bitcoin over the scarcity of it, go check out QNT. I mean, in my opinion, QNT is a perfect store of value that does have significant use case advantage. And in my opinion, if you do value crypto and you believe that crypto will become a center point of the future financial system, it will become, a piece of everyday life, then guess what? You should 100% support QNT, because when we look at QNT being the interoperability bridge between everything, it is 100% crucial for the future life cycle of crypto. And we do see over here, do you guys realize Quant partner LCX just received their tokenization validator license? The first company to do this worldwide. Tokenization of world assets just hit the green light button. And yes, if you guys did miss this, so shout out to Miguel over on Twitter. This is going to be a huge deal. LCX, pay attention to LCX. A lot of people don't look at LCX. LCX is one of my major holdings. I don't have enough of it. I seriously do not have enough LCX. I need to start looking into LCX accumulation a lot more, because I look at this token and it's significantly undervalued, especially in terms of like regulation talk, tokenization talk. I mean, like, this is a token I think everyone should do research on. So if you hold QNT, 100% look into LCX, and even AOBT as well. Alliance Block is also very good. And I seen this post from Monero, I hope I'm saying that name right, where it was talking about the Boston Consulting Group, the BCG. Check this out. Tokenization of global illiquid assets estimated to be a $16 trillion business opportunity by 2030. I just talked about this in a recent XRP video. Yeah, I do think that tokenization is going to continue to grow astronomically, and we actually do see highly conservative forecast tokenization potential of $68 trillion by 2030 in the best case scenario. And I do think that as players like QNT and LCX and, XRP, HBAR, Alliance Block 100% as well, so many of these incredible utility gems, these are going to power the next frontier of tokenization. And this is something very, very special. Pay attention to what LCX is doing, and also the partners of Quant. There's a ton of Quant partners. ALBT is also a partner of QNT's. And also, when we do talk about tokenization, we talk about the $68 trillion opportunity for tokenization. It would be idiotic to ignore CBDCs. Listen, CBDCs are everywhere. They are being talked about everywhere. I do have my negative views on CBDCs. I also have positive views on CBDCs. In my opinion, I do think that a lot of the central banks are trying to push for strict regulations around crypto so that they only push CBDCs, which I do not like. I do not like the idea of that. But I do think that if we have them well designed, very similar to what we're seeing here from Gilbert Verdian, a well-designed CBDC can help provide a real-time view of risk and currency outflows to help implement specific and targeted measures to prevent financial contagions from spreading. I think that this would be great. But this also goes into the question on why the hell do we need a retail CBDC? Think about it. I mean, a wholesale CBDC is crucial. I think that a wholesale CBDC would be 100% great to have for all central banks. But why do we need a retail CBDC? The biggest issue, though, excuse me, on a retail and a wholesale CBDC is that if we do see wholesale CBDCs go live, they will 100% try to push for a retail CBDC. So yes, I do think that there's pros and cons to this, and I also think that there's negative and positive things to look at around CBDCs. I think that a lot of the big negative aspects around CBDCs is also the push agenda from a lot of individuals that are kind of taking sci-fi movies and really kind of shaping them to CBDCs. It's questionable on what we are going to see around these, because I've also had my negative views from like what the ECB has said around CBDCs, where they want to actually restrict retail use of the digital euro to a specific means of like $1,500 per month or something like that. And then also it doesn't, group over to the next month. So you actually have to spend all that $1,500 that month, or next month it just goes back to $1,500. And also they want to restrict on what you can buy with it as well. So when we look at CBDCs, yeah, they could be pretty serious in terms of the negativity around them for like the retail sector. And also, we do see over here, in terms of CBDCs and central banks, yes. Like I said, they are trying to push for these CBDCs. The Central Bank of Egypt actually just said that internal and external working committees have been formed from all relevant ministries and national authorities to study CBDC usage. Along with this, we also seen the pilots blockchain and USDC stablecoins for disbursement in the Ukraine with Kiev. This is with Stellar, aka XLM. When you look at like XLM is a great project as well. But this is with Stellar's Development Foundation with their USDC pilots, or not pilots, but their stablecoin project. Which, by the way, USDC is not owned by Stellar or anything like that. They just have a partnership with them to disperse funds for like retail use for P2P and stuff like that. It's a pretty significant partnership as well. I've talked about it in the past. And then also over here, Bank of England publishes a list of questions asked by suitors for its CBDC wallet. And the reason why I included this stablecoin post is because we also look at stablecoins as possibly being CBDCs, where these central banks actually release their own stablecoins, which would be interesting. But it looks like a lot of the major entities want their CBDCs, like the Bank of England, the US even talked about their own, China, Japan. I mean, there's so many of them. And then over here, we also do see Russia as well. A group of Russian lawmakers, led by the chairman of the Financial Market Committee, has submitted a draft legislation on the digital ruble, the central bank digital currency minted by Russia's monetary authority, which I did include in a video recently as well. So when we look at what's happening around fiat currencies and digital tokens, digital assets, like everything that we know of, fiat and money itself is changing. We're seeing digitization take a hold of the entire monetary system. And going back to that initial statement where we did see like the value proposition behind tokenization, like $68 trillion sounds like a lot, but when you look at what the tokenization aspects are, what they want to tokenize, like equities and things like that, the equities market, like the global equities market, it's like well worth over $100 trillion. We look at like real estate's worth like $300 trillion plus, and there's a lot more tied to this. I mean, you could tokenize debt, you could tokenize anything that can be tokenized, in my opinion, also will be tokenized in time. I really do think that it really started in 2022. I mean, 2022 was, the year of interoperability. They started to talk about digitization and tokenization, but now 2023, we are going to hear tokenization quite a lot. I'm telling you right now, pay attention to tokenization, because tokenization is going to be a big key driver of not only the market cap of crypto, but a lot of these projects like QNT, LCX, Alliance Block, HBAR even, pay attention to the ledger technology that is providing very, very incredible efficiencies for tokenization mechanisms, because that's what's going to really succeed going forward. And I think that this chart is a perfect idea on what can represent just the growth of this entire market. Again, I always say that crypto is going to become a $100 trillion plus market cap asset class. I mean, this is the perfect way to get there. And I do think a key driver of it will be also having that interoperability bridge between everything. So I do think that Quant will also grasp a large portion of that value, not in the aspect of like QNT being worth like $68 trillion plus a market cap, but I do think that a fraction of that will definitely be a market capitalization aspect for QNT, which I could see QNT, give it a couple years, I think that it could be valued into the well worth $100 billion plus market cap area. I mean, listen, if Ethereum could hit $500 billion in market cap, if Bitcoin can hit $1 trillion in market cap, I just don't see a world where QNT isn't worth like $100 billion to $250 billion within the next couple years. And then if we're talking about like 5, 10 plus years, I mean, the value of QNT could be significantly higher than anything that we could imagine. I mean, I always say, like, this could very well be the next Bitcoin. And it's not me, like, being, like, that guy where, we've heard, oh, this is the new Bitcoin. This is the new Bitcoin in the past. Or, like, even the Ethereum killers. But in my opinion, yeah, like, if we had something to go off of that could very well be the next Bitcoin, the closest thing to it, I would argue that it would be QNT. And if you guys do have like a better token to go off of, please be my guest and tell me, because I've heard it all before with like even Yearn Finance. A lot of people were talking about Yearn Finance. I think that there was Maker as well. A lot of people were calling Maker the next Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. I mean, it's all up in the air. But in my opinion, like QNT is the closest one, especially in terms of like the supply, the utility, everything around it. I mean, I just don't really have an argument point behind QNT besides the ERC20 label. But again, it's blockchain agnostic. It could go to any other blockchain. So with all of that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, hope that you all have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.